Well, a larger level, I thought the script was really exciting. I think it's a good action picture. I think Sam's really good at that. I think he's really good at taking audiences on a roller coaster ride. And I've known Sam for 6 years, and he mentioned the idea of the movie to me like 4 or 5 years ago. And from that point, I knew that he was really excited about it and was going to make a good movie out of it. And so that excited me. What interested me about playing the character of Julie in Darkman was that up until this point in movies, I've mostly played southern rural women with less than a high school education, and I wanted to play an educated businesswoman from the north, and just personally to show people in the industry that I could do that. And I thought that the best way to do that was with friends. I met Sam Raimi, I think probably about 5 years ago. I had worked with Joel and Ethan Coen on Blood Simple, and Joel and Ethan had met Sam when Joel was editing Evil Dead. Joel Coen did some editing on the first Evil Dead movie, and at that time, Joel and Ethan were putting together were trying to figure out how to finance Blood Simple, and Sam helped them a lot with ideas about limited partnership and things. So through my friendship with Joel and Ethan, I met Sam, and at one point in 1983-84, we were all out here and rented a house together in Silver Lake. So I got to know Sam very well then. At that time, I think he was writing Evil Dead 2, and Joel and Ethan were trying to sell Blood Simple. And I was working on Hill Street Blues. So we were all attacking Los Angeles from a different aspect at that point. Julie, she is, on one hand, she's a new phenomena in movies these days. She is a 80s woman that has a high-profile job, real estate lawyer, who's very good at her job, very shrewd, very calculating, very intelligent. But in the story of the movie, she also is the dame. She's the damsel in distress, and that has been really interesting for me as an actor, because I have to make sure that when she does end up in the classic situations of the girl in the movie, of being saved and kidnapped and supporting the man in the movie, that she also brings a certain amount of wit and intelligence to that. And we tried to work on that in rehearsal before the movie started, just as far as the love story part of the movie goes. Sam and Liam and I worked together to try to make the love story scenes as interesting and as paced as the action part. Julie, I think, is what I've tried to bring to her throughout the movie. The arc of her character is that she does start out as a very driven, ambitious woman who gets caught up in a romantic love story. And so when it comes to playing the scenes where she is a little less self-reliant than I think she would be in other situations, that it's because she's caught up in a romantic fantasy of love and intrigue, and plays that role, plays the woman's role in that. I think in anything that an actor does, and especially in film, it's hard not to use a great deal of your own self. An actor brings that to anything they do. I'm not interested in playing myself in jobs that I take on. I'm an actor because I enjoy exploring other characters. And I think that Julie probably, though just as much a character as anything else I've played, is probably a little closer to myself, only because, and at the sake of sounding egotistical, she's intelligent. She's not from this rural southern uneducated environment, and so I'm allowed to bring more of myself to it, just as far as style goes, maybe as far as where she comes from, and what her educational background is, and her viewpoint of the world. But she's a character, and I do tend to be a little self-righteous sometimes, and I certainly make mistakes, but I'm playing a character, so it's kind of hard to break down what's me and what's her. The carnival scene is kind of an example of what working with Sam Raimi is like. It's about tilt-a-whirls. It's about roller coasters. It's about freak shows. It's about something looking like one thing, and then you look in a mirror and it distorts. As an actor, he working with him as a director is like working with another actor because he acts with the camera. His camera moves are trying to create an emotional response for and in the audience that in other styles of film acting, the camera could be static, and the actor does it with their emotions registering on their face or in a body movement. Whereas with Sam, for example, there's a scene in the movie where when Peyton returns from Julie's point of view from the dead, and she sees him in the graveyard, it's obviously when she sees him standing before her, she at first thinks it's a mirage. Then when she realizes that he's actually physically standing before her alive, there's obviously a certain amount of shock and horror and surprise involved. Instead of that only Sam letting that just register on my face, he pulled in the camera in a very fast dolly shot. He calls it the wah shot, where the camera rushes into my face very fast and focuses on my eyes at the end. So there was no need for me to register. I would be redundant if I registered full shock and horror on my face because it was being done with the camera. So basically, I try to anticipate and also I asked Sam what the camera moves, what emotional impact he's trying to have on the audience with his camera moves, because I want to be able to work with that and not against it, or not, as I said before, redundantly with it. He also, I think, he is quite a good actor on his own right, you know. When in direction, I wouldn't often ask a director to show me how to do something. But with Sam, especially in things, there's one reaction in the carnival scene where he wanted a 3-part scream, as a scream of pain from one character, a scream of rage from one character, and a scream of horror from my character. And it's a fast boom, boom, boom scream, right? 3 different characters, 3 different screams. But I said, well, okay, Sam, what kind of scream do you want from me? And he took 3 beats and then gave me the exact scream, the exact pitch, the sound, the vocal motivation for the scream, and it was great. It was exactly what was needed. And so in Sam's case, in situations like that, he's heard it, he's seen it, he knows what it's going to do to a person's face. I asked him to show me. I wouldn't always ask Sam how to give me a line reading, but I would ask, in a situation like that, I'd ask him what he wants me to do. He sees things from a superhuman point of view. He sometimes puts the eyepiece up to his eye, the little portable eyepiece, and walks around the room and maps out a camera move that can take him 2 seconds walking around the room, but will be either an elaborate setup or call for a new creation of a camera move or a camera dolly. But it's because he sees things on a very grand scale and visually, I think, and then creates different camera apparatuses to recreate them. Like in the waltzing scene, in the ballroom scene, Strack Jr. and I are waltzing, and he wanted one of the shots, our close-ups, to be our faces in focus, and then the background to be whirling in a blurred whirl, as if in the dialogue and in the dancing we were hypnotized by one another. So he developed the Dance-O-Cam, where we were strapped into a dolly with the camera mounted stationary on the dolly, and a grip waltzed while we did the upper body movements of the dance. The grip, he was wonderful. He took a whole day to learn the steps, did the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, pushing the dolly back and forth in a waltzing pattern so that we would stay in focus, but the rest of the room would be swirling behind us. Sam's dance-o-cam. Sam has seen a lot of movies. He doesn't always remember where he saw what and who did what and what was about, but he has visions, flashes from different movies. And I think a lot of movies when he was younger that he really enjoyed were Three Stooges, cartoon movies, horror movies, action movies. These things have all kind of merged in his mind as a vision of movie making. And so often when he envisions a scene, he doesn't consider that often that there are human beings involved, that he sees it from a cartoon aspect where if a person is run over by a car, it would be great visually if that person was flattened down on the ground, and when they came up off the ground, they were one-dimensional and then slowly popped back into a three-dimensional character. I think that he loves that kind of absolute quality. But also, what's interesting about the violence in his movies is that it is somehow it's kept from being totally horrific, because it's also done with that sense of humor. Is that, yes, someone gets stabbed and bleeds, but they're not really hurt. They're not really hurt that bad. They'll somehow put super glue on the wound and it'll heal up. Everything has a sense of wonder and humor. And therefore, nothing ever gets too hard or too menacing. I've really enjoyed working with Liam. I've enjoyed watching Liam, especially when he's working on the Darkman scenes in the movie. The man has the patience of Job. What he is asked to do technically in this movie goes beyond Olympic sports. I think it's probably one of the hardest tasks an actor can have in a film. The medium of film is so focused on facial expression, and in the Darkman makeup, Liam's face, which is wonderful and very very malleable and shows his expression so vividly, is covered 3/4 with a 3/4 face mask, and the mask eliminates a lot of Liam's own character lines. And when he can be expressing an emotion on his face and can be working the muscles of his face, but it doesn't necessarily transform the mask. And so Liam has had to use his entire body to express things in the character of Darkman. And because of his theatrical background, he knows how to do that. He has command of his entire body, and it's really wonderful. The grandness, the grandness of the tragic figure he portrays, it couldn't be expressed just with a twitch of the nose or a lift of the eyebrow. It has to have the whole body involved, and also his eyes. His eyes are very expressive and very deep, and that's one of the most beneficial things he's brought to the Darkman, is that you see this ravaged face, this burned face, but you look in the eyes and you still see the man. You still see Peyton behind this mask. He's in rehearsals for the love scenes with throughout the movie. It was very difficult. It was very difficult trying to coordinate what we knew was realistic and what we knew was necessary for the progression of the story. And he was we worked in these rehearsals. It was great, the give and take, and the I often in those situations just I dive in and I say anything that comes to my head. And also because of my relationship with Sam, our friendship, I often didn't take into consideration that the man had written this and this script. He had worked on this script for a long time. And Liam was wonderfully, he was very good at maintaining a balance between what was necessary to bring about progress in these rehearsals, but also how to kind of step between me and Sam and say, okay, all right, I think we need to, look at it from this point of view now. But he's a wonderful listener, and if I can only work with listeners for the rest of my life, I'll be a very fortunate actor. It's one of I think, the paramount discipline in an actor is to know how to listen well, and Liam Neeson knows how to do that. Colin Friel has done an amazing job with his character. He had a very short amount of time, less than a week, actually a couple days, to develop his idea of his character. He has completely embodied that character within that amount of time. I love working with Colin because his approach to acting is one of curiosity and enjoyment. He loves to do it, and there is no pretentiousness involved in what he is. He's a working man. He's a journeyman actor. He goes in, he does the job, and has as much fun with it as he possibly can. He also, with both Liam and Colin, what I really enjoy is how much they enjoy Sam. I love it's like watching. I feel like it reminds me of there was one summer when I was in 9th grade. I hung out with three guys for a whole summer, and in that summer I learned how to whistle with my fingers, really a whistle that catches cabs really great in New York City, and how to ride motor scooters. Working on the set of this movie is like that. I feel like I'm not with kids, but I feel like I'm with a group of people who are constantly tapping their own imaginative sources and bringing that out in each other. And that's what Sam does with Colin and Liam and myself. I think Colin is a really fine actor, and I really like working with him. He's fun. God, I don't know how to.
That's good.
Where else to go?
How do you do that whistle? Never could get that. Later.
I got to do that in this movie. It's the first time I've ever got to use it in a character. It was great. I don't look for scripts that are politically correct. I don't look for scripts that maybe necessarily mean more than other scripts. The genre of genre of movies is, to me, it's very specific, and it's all about someone's vision, and that vision can be perceived as being more important or more frivolous, but it's still someone's vision of something. And just because I was involved in a project that was perceived as being more political and more important movie, like Mississippi Burning, doesn't mean that's the only thing that I want or can do. I think it's just as important as an actor to work on the style of something like Darkman, to be involved in a project that it's entertainment. Movies are about entertainment, and and why I think that in the press, Mississippi Burning was criticized often because it is a process of entertainment that often it is hard to express certain political important statements in a medium of entertainment, because you do have to entertain, you do have to and therefore hopefully educate, hopefully enlighten, but first and foremost entertain. And I think that Sam Raimi's approach to movie making is one of entertainment. That's what he's concerned with. That's what he wants to do to an audience. He wants to entertain them and take them on a ride.